All right. P-Diddy. Sean Combs. He's in deep doo-doo. And there's a reason for that. They actually, as far as I'm concerned, they should have arrested him, I don't know, 10 years ago. The man's got issues. Anyway, let's see what they have to say from TMZ, because I'm curious. I want to know what kind of trouble he is really in. He's in some hot water, I know that. So anyway, let's listen.
Well, from music mogul to an inmate, Sean Diddy Combs is denied bail on charges of sex trafficking and racketeering.
TMZ has been following this case for months now, and Charles Lottie-Baudier is joining us to dive deeper into what is happening. Charles, I mean, shocking is an understatement when you hear the details of this case. What are your thoughts after hearing the indictment yesterday?
Good morning, Brian and Natalie. I got to tell you, my thoughts reading the 14-page indictment yesterday were that there are a lot of people in Hollywood who are probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on. That's not to say that they were necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I don't want to say worried, I think there's a lot of scared people. A few months ago, I saw this thing where they interviewed Ashton Kutcher. And he was looking really rough and shaking in his boots. And I'm sure there are probably more that are doing the same thing at this point. When he starts pointing fingers, goodbye, fellas.
But if you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off sex parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And certainly if you were involved, you would get a call, because they're going to want to know everything you want to know and may even want you to be a witness. I just think, we're just starting to scratch the surface of what this case, this case is going to touch and involve. And the feds have said that this remains an open investigation. There could be more charges for Diddy. There could be more charges for other people involved.
Absolutely.
And usually the way this works is once they find out other people are involved or were witnesses, they bring them in and they sort of lean on them, and it's sort of like, you're going to cooperate with us, or there's a possibility that you could face charges. So this is going to be a slow developing a case here, because we're just getting started, and I don't see how this trial begins anytime before next year.
There are a lot of wild allegations in those documents that came out yesterday, including 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What surprised you the most about what you read yesterday?
Yeah, I mean,
what the heck do you do with 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Hello. Whew. I can't believe that. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What the hell do you do with that?
That, Brian, was definitely an alarming graph of the indictment when you read that. When they raided, I believe it was the Miami home, where they found 1,000 bottles of, and they said that these were items that were used at the freak-offs. There were also large amounts of drugs. They said cocaine, ketamine, Molly, GHB, the rape drug.
Ketamine. Now that's what killed Matthew Perry. All right, and his associates or assistants, whatever they were, are in jail for that. Now, P. Diddy, I think he should be charged with attempted murder, using drugs like that.
So, they said that the house, according to the feds, that was stocked for these parties that were going on. And then to read their description of how Diddy, as they say, lured women into joining these parties. And they say that he would meet them or lure them, get to know them, and lure them in, thinking they would think that there was going to be a romantic relationship with him, and then it would turn out that they would be at these freak-offs where they would be forced to have, or drugged and forced to have sex with male prostitutes that he was bringing in, and that's one of the counts that he's facing. Also, is the transportation of individuals for a purpose of prostitution. So, really alarming allegations laid out in court. Diddy, of course, has pled not guilty to all of it, and then the real kicker for him at the end of the day was that the judge said you will be held without bail, and that means however long it takes for this trial to begin, he will be in a federal detention facility in Brooklyn, and not a very nice one. In fact, a fairly notorious one. So you got to figure it. He wants out of there, and he wants out as soon as possible.
We're in this era right now, Charles, of men with power falling from grace in Hollywood. And when I think about Harvey Weinstein, you know, that was an open secret in Hollywood for a very long time about what he was doing with victims. Was this also the case with P-Diddy, that people kind of knew this was going on?
I will say this: there were always been whispers about his power and how he wielded that power. But I can't say I heard any whispers about these freak-offs, and it's really alarming. You know, we were talking about it yesterday. One, these parties had a lot of individuals. In fact, the U.S. Attorney's Office says that the parties would sometimes go on for days. So there are a lot of individuals involved, and yet, and they say this has been going on for more than 10 years, and yet we didn't hear about that. So that means that all the people that were involved, according to the feds, that he managed to keep them all quiet, that nobody would speak about it, and that does sort of speak to the kind of power he wielded and the fear that people had of him. We're also talking about the fact that the beating of Cassie, which was captured on the hotel surveillance video,
was sick.
That was 6 years ago, and
alleged when
nobody knew about it. Nobody heard about it.
On that.
Think about all the people that were at the hotel who may have known about it, people who saw the surveillance video and never spoke about it. And like you said, we're in an era where when things like that happen, people speak out about it. So the fact that no one did, and that it only took this, really Cassie's lawsuit before any of this started coming out, it does kind of speak to the power that he wielded, and that the fact that nobody wanted to cross him.
And Charles, what do you think happens next in this case? Members of Sean Combs' family have been ordered to give up their passports. He's currently in jail. What do you think happens from here?
Well, his attorneys, the first thing that's going to happen is today, his attorneys are going back into court. They've appealed the bail ruling. And like I said, I'm sure he wants out, and that's their first job right now, is to get him out. They've offered a $50 million package for bail. That was rejected yesterday, but they're going to take another swing at it today. And then after that, what happens, look, he did surrender his passport to his lawyer. We should say the way his team put it out originally, they made it sound like he had turned it over to the authorities. He had turned over his passport back in April to his lawyer, as did his children and his mother. And their point was they wanted to make the case to the court that, look, we're cooperating here. He is not a flight risk. And they feel like that the U.S. Attorney's Office undermined that by raiding his hotel on Monday night and arresting him when they say he was in New York because he was more than willing to surrender. In fact, the plan was for him to surrender on Tuesday, and then for some reason the feds decided to arrest him Monday night. Diddy's attorneys think they did that so that it would look like he wasn't cooperating, and then the judge would deny him bail, which, as it turns out, is what happened.
He did that because he was a flight risk.
Charles, thank you so much for your thoughts on this morning. You guys always have so much information behind the scenes there. It is 7:13 a.m. in Los Angeles. Thanks for waking up early with us.
Yeah. They should have put him away when he shot the dude in the nightclub, or shot at him, whatever happened there. He shot somebody in a nightclub or something. And they should have put him away right there. They let him go. An alarm should have went off right there. And but what the hell do you do with 1,000 bottles of baby oil? That one's got by me. and yes, there are a lot of associates. I'm gonna say associates that should be really shaking in their boots about now, because when he starts to point the fingers, and he is, because they're going to ask him in court under oath, who were you involved with? He's going to start pointing the fingers because he has to. I don't think he's going to cover up because he wants out of this, but he's not going to get out. Anyway, hey, if you would, I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. Anyway, I don't know. I gotta let this settle in my mind for a little bit. This guy's actually nuts. You know. Oh, one more thing. They were talking about how they lured the women there. Yeah, you shake $1 in front of a gold digger's eyeball, they're coming, without question. Anyway, like I said, like and subscribe. I do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.